In today's video, we're continuing the series where we take a look at Destined Rivals and the best decks to come from it. Obviously not been a ton of hype around stuff like Mewtwo and things, sort of fallen by the wayside, and in testing, it felt okay. I think it's probably better than a lot of people are giving it credit for currently, but I have gone a different way in building this. The Mewtwo has actually come out of it. The Mewtwo could still be a one-off, don't get me wrong. The way we've built this, it can still be dropped and attack in a turn, which is quite powerful. And I think a one-off is probably fine. I'll show you some flex spots as we go. But the main guy in this deck is going to be the 4 of Spidops. It's going to be our main attacker, our main way to accelerate energy, obviously accelerate into itself. We're not going to mess around with all the shenanigans of energy switch and trying to set up the Mewtwo. We're just going to go for a more consistent line. We're just going to try and swing with these guys. They can two-shot anything in the game. So hopefully just taking that prize trade. We can still one-shot a lot of smaller stuff like the Fez, the Mews, Clefairies, things like that. To accompany it then, obviously we need a ton of Team Rocket Pokemon, and to get that extra damage on the board, we've got a 4-4-1 line of Crobat. Just helps us increase our damage, helps us have those Pokemon on the bench when we need them. We just need a ton of Team Rocket stuff, so Spidops can swing for big numbers. We're keeping the deck entirely Team Rocket, so we can still use things like Ariana.
Small little thing here. I actually had a second Crobat. I did think a 4-4-1 was quite a strange line. Normally it's like a 4-4-3 or something like that. It should be a 4-4-2. There was another Crobat in the deck box afterwards. I wasn't really sure how to fix it, so I'm just going to nip in here and say there is another Crobat. That could definitely be a flex spot. The fact that I forgot to put it in the video probably shows it's not that necessary. A lot of the time you don't really want any 2 prizes on the board, so having 1 Crobat is probably enough, so you do have space, like I said, to work into Mewtwo and other things, or if there's a particular card you want in the list, maybe increase the Proton line just to have that really consistent turn 1. But I thought I should probably mention that as there is only 59 cards on screen.
Obviously the Mimikyu and Articuno massive in this. We've got 1 of each. Potentially would like a second of both, so any flex spots in here could go to one of those. The Mimikyu having the free retreat and the Articuno protecting our bench. It can be massive in some matchups. So obviously we've got the 4 of Ariana. Draw up until you have 8 cards if your board is fully Team Rocket. And this board is fully Team Rocket. There's no Pokemon that could break that. We do run a few ways to attack with a Crobat, so obviously we can drop it down and get the damage, but then we can jump it back into hand so we never have any 2 prize liabilities on the bench. Not the biggest liability being 310 HP, but we don't want to give them the option of taking 2 prizes. So if we're going to evolve into the Crobat, we're probably going to attack with it as well. We've got the 3 of Team Rocket's Giovanni, which is basically Guzma. We bring up one of their bench, switch one of ours. However, with the Team Rocket Stadium, we also draw 2 cards from it, so absolutely crack supporter in this list. We've got the 2 of Team Rocket's Proton. We want to be playing these turn 1. The aim of this deck is to go first. Team Proton can be used on your first turn. Search out 3 basic Team Rocket Pokemon. Now you may be thinking, if we want to use it every turn first, then why are we only playing 2? We'll get into that in a minute. We do play the 1 Rockets Petro and the 1 Rockets Archer. Petro will let us find our items or any, I think it's any trainer card. Any trainer card at all, which is good. Normally grabbing some of the more niche stuff like the tools or the A-Spec in this case. And Archers, very similar to something like Iono. We're going to shuffle in, our opponent's going to shuffle in, we draw 5, they draw 3. And to make all of this work together is the 4 of Team Rocket's Transceiver. Now, I have already mentioned the importance of the Proton on turn 1. So I've actually got 6 out so far to find in the Proton. We do also have a couple more, so there's a good chance that we do see some way to find Proton in the opening hand. Obviously, once it's been played on the early turns, it's not really that useful, so we don't want to run too many of them and have just hands of dead cards towards the end. We've got the 4 of Ultra Ball to find our evolution Pokemon, and 3 Buddy Poffin. We use the Proton early on, but the Buddy Poffins are nice when we Super Rod stuff back, obviously just to reset up our bench or just to find more Pokemon. Obviously we grabbed 3 with Proton, but we need 6 Rocket Pokemon in play, so the Poffins are going to help there. We've got a Super Rod and a Stretcher. The Super Rod, like I say, is going to let us reshuffle back in our Spidops lines. Stretcher is going to let us grab that piece when we need it. And we do run the 1 of Vessel. We We run a fair bit of energy, but it's just to find it. I think it's a nice slot in here. Obviously, we've got ways to grab it with a Petro and other things. We do run a few tools in here. Potentially, this is where I would change things. So we've got the Defiance Band and Counter Gain. Spidops can swing for 180, so we can reach stuff like Mew quite easily, but Defiance Band means we get to 210, which reaches things like the Pheasantipity, which is quite a big number. So Defiance Band, very important. You can also play as your A spec. I'll just talk about mine now. I've currently got Secret Box. Now this could easily be Maximum Belt, and I have been playing Maximum Belt in this list. It could go either way and is honestly a decision call for you. I think because we play the Petrol, it's fine either way. We've got ways to find it. It does mean you can reach that 230 number quite easily, so things like Iron Hands aren't as scary. So I think it's really a meta call on what the game is looking like. Secret Box just helping with that consistency and finding these fellas. Team Rocket's Factory, absolutely broken card. Whenever you play a Team Rocket supporter, you can then draw 2 cards. Now you could play one like Giovanni, for example. You could then thin your deck via Poffins and other things, and then decide to draw those cards. I don't know why they added that stipulation, but it just makes it absolutely broken. We run finally the 6 of Grass Energy, and like I mentioned before, the 3 of Team Rocket's Energy. So a few reasons to use the Rocket Energy. We can attach them to Mimikyu and attack. That's a really powerful attack into things like Dragapult, namely. Like I mentioned before, we can attach it to our Crobat, jump it back into hand and get some reuse out of those bats and drop in some damage, but it does also mean we have no 2 prize liabilities on board. Not really useful on our Spidops. We can use it on there. Obviously, it's got a colorless, but it's not ideal. Normally, we're going to be using the Grass Energy via its ability and an attachment. We do also run a Counter Gain, so you can just use its ability and a Counter Gain to attack. I'd maybe like a second Counter Gain in here, honestly. I think if I stick with a Secret Box route, I will put another one in. If I go to the Maximum Belt, you probably want more options for different tools. So I think it really just depends how you build this one. It's a super tight list though. There's not a lot of space to cut. Honestly, if you change the Secret Box, you can't really drop the stadium count. Potentially could come down to 2 stadium with the Secret Box in, and that could be a slot. The Vessel could go. Maybe drop like a Golbat potentially. So there's a few flex spots where you could, like I said, getting the Maximum Belt is going to be one of the top ones if you replace Secret Box. Another Counter Gain in here is nice. Like I say, it just uses its ability, the Spider, and then Counter Gain is going to make it super easy to set up. I think the support account is fine. The rest of the list is looking good. I've been enjoying this more than the Mewtwo version. It needs so much. There's so much in the deck that it feels, yeah, it just feels really like sluggish. And I think this has felt a lot more streamlined. Nowhere near as powerful, obviously. Mewtwo, an absolute monster. And like I said, the first card I would put in for any of these replacements is a Mewtwo. And the reason for that is we can slam a Mewtwo down, we can Team Rocket's Energy, and we can Counter Gain to be able to attack the same turn it comes down. I think that's the really important thing. If you're going to play Mewtwo, you don't want it down a turn early so they can take 2 prizes. You want to slam it down and potentially swing for game or a big swing that they don't expect. So just to recap, the biggest ones I would change, Secret Box into a Maximum Belt. I think that one's fine. And like I say, I keep going back and forth on that one. If we do bring Mewtwo into this list, I would drop maybe a Vessel and a Golbat and put in Mewtwo and another Counter Gain. The Counter Gain becomes a lot more essential in that, obviously, like I've just mentioned, having the Mewtwo down, Counter Gain, energy the same turn is quite important. So those would be the changes. Let me know what you think of the list. I'm very excited to test this a little more and really get into trying to make this Team Rocket package work. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you do want to see more deck building stuff, you want to see more games, let me know what you want to see in the comments below. That's all I've got for this episode though, so I will catch you in the next one.